We live?
You are. Am I?
I don't feel a pulse. Good thing we got Sean here with us. He can provide us with CPR, life-saving
Hang on a minute.
services.
Where's my defib?
Yeah.
You got anything?
I've got a defib, but it's in the other room. Now you're making me run and fetch it. Now I've got a dilemma. Do I do CPR first or do I go and fetch the defib?
Can you?
Ilana will bring the defib.
Can you use a defib over virtual space?
Are you feeling it? Actually,
it's coming probably. That technology will get here someday.
It is, let me say. But I don't think I don't know if you remember. I did tell you this week. There's a new defib being invented right now. It's being manufactured, and I believe it's due to come out in September or so. No, a little bit bigger than the iPhone, maybe a bit longer. It's single use only. The battery will last you somewhere of 4 years or something like that. And in Aussie dollars, sub $500.
What is a typical reusable defib cost?
Typical, like this one over here, which is my baby. It's my second wife. How dare it? Yeah, well, it just behaves. It doesn't do anything. It just sits.
You're going to need more than a defib if you keep going on that.
That's it. No, this one here retails, or the recommended retail is around about $2,500.
Oh, so it's really, for most use cases, these new ones will be a better deal then, quite a value.
Well, in the short term, yeah. Long-term wise, this is great because this will do a lot more than that does. In other words, it keeps heart rates and all that sort of stuff, whereas that new one will just be single. And I can use this up to 30 years, whereas the other one will only go as long as the batteries last.
Right. So it's how often do you need to use one? Where you
exactly.
Hopefully for me, I'll never need to use one.
Please God. But then on the other hand, it's nice to have someone around who actually has one.
Yeah.
And knows how to use it. I want to say g'day quickly to the guys in the chat there. G'day, Meg. How you going?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Stacy's on here as normal. Meg is moving tonight, so she's going to miss us. But she, of course, mentioned the most important thing, the background. So thanks, Meg.
Yeah, that's right.
So for those of you that join us regularly, we are starting a half an hour early because we are going to do a back-to-back with the Down Under cruisers for their group cruise. 2 of the ports on this with us, and then we're going to jump over to them at 10 and do 2 of the ports with them. So we're giving ourselves a half-hour leeway because Matt likes to talk a lot at the end of the podcast.
Oh, it's all my fault, is it?
Really?
Yes. Yes, it is.
You mean I might actually get Matt onto a live of ours for a whole hour?
You might.
If you can keep me to an hour, that's the challenge.
Well,
all right.
Are
we ready to go?
Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. All right. So we're going to put them in the green room for a second, roll our credits, and then we'll be back, and they'll be back too.
Also, hi, Gina.
Oh, hey, Gina and Stacy and everybody else. Meg.
Come with me, we're going on a fantastic cruise. Pick your destination with news, tips, and reviews. But here is an item you might not have thought of. All of the things under the water. Nature surrounds us with elegant features. You can't go on a cruise and not see the creatures. So let's make some magic, let's get ecstatic. Instantly classic, maybe romantic. The wildlife around you, cinematic on your fantastic cruise.
G'day, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Fintastic Cruising from Down Under. No, that's not true. I am Matt.
Bonbini, I am Kimbra.
And the reason I'm talking like this is just because I'm obsessed with Australia, but also because we have some special guests, which you guys may or may not already know about. But we got the Down Under Cruisers here because we're going to be talking about port stops on the upcoming group cruise this October. And I don't want to waste too much time. I want to get them on here because I know we got a lot to cover.
Yes, I do want to specify this is their group cruise that we will be on, not our group cruise in March.
This is the October group cruise. We will be on it too.
Yes,
but it's
not the Fintastic group
us
cruise.
And more Down Under Cruisers
and Spikers.
Yeah,
Crazy Adventures. I think that's what they're called. Yeah.
All right, let's bring these crazy kids on board.
All right.
G'day.
Oh, sorry. Bon Beanie, everybody. I'm Sean.
I'm not Kimbra, I'm Ilana.
We're the Down Under Cruisers.
Hey, we did that wrong.
We did. I mean, but then again, we've got Matt trying to do an Aussie accent, which absolutely threw the living daylights out of me in the first place.
He's had too many of those shapes. That's Vegemite shapes, I think.
That's what it is.
Ilana, I don't know if your microphone's as loud as his.
No,
I think, does she sound quiet?
Yeah.
Sorry, is that better?
That's okay.
Is that better?
Just got to compete with Sean, so.
I know.
Yeah, you don't have to compete with me. I'm just perfect.
I'm not. Well, I have a naturally quieter voice to begin with.
That's what she tells everybody.
Can we hear her better now?
I don't know. Is your mic on?
I'm wondering if your mic is working.
It is on.
I've just modified something on my settings.
Hello. Testing.
Because I think you're coming in, but she's.
Yeah, it sounds like she's picking up on Sean's mic.
Yeah.
I will shout if I have to. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You sound crystal clear.
That's interesting. And I'll tell you why. I've totally killed my my volume on my microphone.
That's weird.
I wonder if it's using if it's using your microphones or if it's using a microphone on your computer or something, but it sounds really good. Your clarity is very good. So
if it was the main computer, then you would have heard us both the same.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is quality podcasting right here.
I'm using a digital panel, a digital board, and that's probably what's confusing things.
Got it. You may have to share the mic or something.
Oh, don't get personal. Don't get personal.
Can we sanitize it first?
I've got the DFIP here just in case we need it. All right, let me try this.
Try that. Let's see what it sounds.
Is that better?
Much better. Much better.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll vanish away with you.
Some weird technical gremlin thing going on there. We had problems with this camera. It keeps shutting off on us, but once we get it going, it's good. So, all right. Anyway, back to the episode. So we are going on your group cruise, which is October.
Yes.
What exactly?
October 15. Hang on, let me
15.
get this right. 175 days, 4 hours and 25 minutes.
Precisely.
But who's kidding?
All right. Yeah.
I'm calling this my birthday cruise because it's 2 days after my birthday.
That's right.
And we knew that when we set it up in the first place. You just took a while to join us.
I better get on with the choreography, the cake dancing choreography.
That's right. I'm ready. I'm waiting for it. I'm ready.
Oh, gosh. It may be all talk, no action. I'm not sure.
Well, look, this cruise, I mean, we are so excited to go on this cruise for so many reasons. One, we get to meet you guys and so many other amazingly cool people on this cruise, but also it's a cruise, and that's exciting in and of itself. It's an 8-night cruise, and you can still book on this cruise with us if you want to come have this fun with us and join all these amazing people. And tonight we are going to talk about 2 of the islands on this podcast. We're going to talk about Aruba and Bonaire, and most of the options you have, if you were to go through the cruise line, that doesn't mean that's all the options. And then we're going to jump on over to the Down Under Cruisers live stream, and we're going to go through the 2 port stops in the Dominican Republic. So it's going to be a good night.
Yeah. And for those of you that are just listening to the podcast, after you listen to this, go to YouTube and check out the Down Under Cruisers, because they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Or if you're coming over here from the Down Under Cruisers, hello and welcome and thank you.
Because we're pretty awesome.
Are we?
You are.
Now,
We're going to rely on your expertise and the expertise of the people listening and contributing in the chat, as this is all new to us, these destinations. So we're waiting with bated breath to hear all about these excursions and pros and cons and all those sorts of things.
So Matt and I did some homework last night, actually, and we went through all 4 of these ports and looked at every single excursion and made notes on all of them.
Awesome.
What was it, like 4 hours?
at least.
Yeah. So we're going to basically go boom, 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 the super fast version of what the 2 of us did last night.
But do we want to bring up the Carnival website to share that, and then we can kind of commentate on it? So here's the thing. If you're going on a cruise and you're wanting to kind of figure out what you want to do for an excursion, this is my strategy. I start with the cruise line, whatever cruise line I'm going through, and I look at all their excursions, and then maybe there's one there that I want to do, depending on the island and how far away it is. A lot of times I'll stick with that, but it also just gives me an idea of what my options are. And then I can do more research and keep honing in. And sometimes that'll lead me away from the cruise line excursions, but often I am a fan of doing cruise line excursions, even though sometimes you can get cheaper deals in like smaller groups and stuff if you go outside. So I'm not opposed to that, but anyway, it gives you a good idea. So here's the rundown for Aruba. So we're going to start with Aruba. Now, you guys have not been to Aruba yet. Aruba is kind of a desert island. It's a Caribbean island, but it's much more deserty. So how do you want to do this? You want to just start naming them off?
Yeah, I'd say instead of clicking through each one, because it's going to take longer to click into them, we've got our notes.
Okay.
So we'll just kind of, as I'll point with my cursor, and then we can kind of talk about what we've done our research on.
And
Does that work?
Yeah. And so Sean and Alana, if you have any input or questions or anything, let us know as we go through these 2, and we'll kind of discuss them together and see what we can figure out. So
That'd be awesome.
Cool. All right, let's start at the beginning.
Okay. So this is going to be fun because I think the order has changed. So
we can figure it out.
Yeah. So the first one on the list that Carnival offers is the 4x4 natural pool swim and snorkel safari. So one thing I do want to mention is a lot of the excursions that you'll find are going to be similar but different in some way. So there's a lot of the ports have specific spots that you'll hit on multiple of these things. It just kind of depends on how you get there is the difference.
Right. If you look at the number of excursions available, it says 27. But in reality, it's not 27 completely different excursions, because there's like 101 ways to skin a cat. Is that an expression in Australia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's also like several ways you can get to some of these different landmark areas. And there are some interesting landmark areas in Aruba. So this is one way you could do that. Now, 4x4, you can see in that little picture, it's like these little safari trucks, and they're going to take you around. And this one's $106.
Yep.
It's a 3.5 hour tour. And the one thing that we noted from looking at reviews and stuff is that it says snorkel, but the snorkel spot is really, it's kind of this cool hole that's been made by waves and stuff. And a lot of the reviews said that when they were there, they couldn't get in the water because it was too choppy. One of the things about the ABC Islands is they are typically very windy. And so sometimes you get rough water in areas. And even if you can get in the water, I'm not sure if you want to go snorkeling, this is probably not the excursion for you. If you want to go and see some of the different land places, this could be an excursion that you might be interested in.
Question though, that we want to bear in mind for some of the people that are on the cruise, whether or not they are accessible, wheelchair accessible.
Yes, and one of the cool things about going through like Carnival's website, for example, is it will give you that information as well. So this one, for example, says moderate activity level, and so it'll tell you if you read into it.
It also says requirements and restrictions.
Yes.
So it has your ages, your weight limit. This one in particular says guests must be able to climb into vehicle unassisted. So it is very specific on if you're unable to do something specific, or there's some that say, if you're pregnant, you can't do it, or, that sort of thing.
So one thing I recommend for people to do is if you're looking at an excursion and you have some restrictions, once you find one that you think you like, do some extra research, look for YouTube videos on it, look for cruise critic reviews of it, look for different things and see if you can find some of those answers to make sure it's something that's going to work for you. All right. What's the next one on there?
The next one is the VIP Schooner Snorkel Cruise feature private chef.
VIP.
Oh, very posh.
Yeah.
So this one is $125 for an adult. Where's that one at on our list? How long is that one, Matt?
Let's see. It's the VIP. Yeah, it was in a different order when we went through these.
It is a 4-hour long excursion.
So 4 hours. What you're getting with this one is you're getting to ride on this fancy schooner, and they're giving you a semi-fancy prepared lunch by a chef. It's a little bit smaller, I think, number of people on it, and they're taking you to an area to snorkel. And I believe this one's for a little beach time as well.
This one goes to Arashi Bay. There's an open bar on this one, and then this is the one that gives you an option to do the hookah snorkel.
Yeah, snorkeling with a long hose, but the reviews we read on it made that sound like that was questionable whether that was really a thing. So, and again, this one I think had some restrictions too, as far as like mobility and stuff like that, because just because of the type of vessel it is.
Yep.
If you have mobility issues, you want to look for things like catamarans that are going to have accessibility and more level areas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So the next one is the Segway Beach and Snorkel Adventure.
Have you guys ever done segways?
I fell on one once.
No, and also just Matt, on that point, talking about segways and things like that, I think it's important also just to take into account your travel insurance and what it allows you to do and not do as well.
Yes. Now, we do recommend that you get travel insurance anytime you go on a cruise. Most travel insurances, you can get it through the cruise line, which is going to cover you pretty well. You can get it through outside of the cruise line, which will, if you get it through a reputable company, will cover you well. And it should cover you for accidents and stuff, but you do want to read that fine print. And the thing that I'm most concerned about when it comes to cruise insurance is if I had an emergency on the ship and had to get airlifted, or if I'm in a country that maybe doesn't have the best medical care, or maybe they would expect some cash up front, and I want to make sure that I'm covered and I'm not going to be in a situation where I could put myself into harm's way because I don't have that coverage. So that's a good point. Definitely want to get that.
Because we've taken out travel insurance, and I think there are some restrictions on things on certain vehicles that we can't drive.
Oh, interesting.
So we have to read about segways or even a golf buggy, things like that.
Is that like an Australian?
We'll be driving on the wrong side of the road for us if we wanted to do a golf buggy.
Are you going through an Australian company for that?
Actually, no, it was an online
international.
company.
No, I think it's an international one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not familiar with that being a thing for like the travel insurance we've booked, but it could be that I've just missed that fine print.
Haven't read it.
I know that something, because we like to scuba dive, and there is an insurance that we always say we're going to get, and we should, called Dan, that's protects you for scuba diving things. So it's like double extra protection, but that's something you should be aware of, is make sure you know that you're going to be covered. I would assume if you go through a Carnival insurance and you get injured on a Carnival excursion, you should be covered, but I don't know.
Here's the thing. When we actually went looking for insurance,
Through Carnival.
the underwriters would not accept us. Why? Because we're Australian.
Yeah. Interesting.
Huh.
It's
US
when you
only.
guys have health coverage in your country.
Yeah.
So we have, and in America, we have to have, you should have health insurance. I think you kind of have to have health insurance, but you have to pay for it or get it through work, and then you still usually pay for it. But our health insurance, when we walk across the border, it doesn't help us anymore. So we're on our own.
We're in the same boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ship, really.
Yeah.
Hang on, got to get it right.
Well, we may be in ships and boats. It's hard to say.
That's true.
So
So
Stacey said
confused.
that he did the VIP schooner, and it's not a fancy lunch, and
Oh.
nobody did the host snorkel.
Okay, so there you go. So that goes along with
Yeah.
the reviews that we read. It was kind of a little bit on that one. The Segway one, though, it's basically you're riding on the Segway, you're going to the beach, and I think it's that same Arashi beach for the snorkel, and that one was what, $105?
105. Yep.
Okay. What else we got?
We have the Aruba Scenic photo tour and party cruise.
Now, one of the things you can do in some of these, you'll see, is you can get on these buses and they'll take you on tours. Sometimes they're just taking you from one thing to another, like there's a catamaran one that takes you back. And these buses are known for being a lot of fun. They get you singing and just having a blast on these buses. And this is kind of one of those. And it's interesting. They sell this one as a photo tour with a photographer going along, and then they will supposedly give you a download to the photos that they take.
Yeah, what's interesting is we did read through the reviews on this one, and only one person actually mentioned the photographer and then said that they never got the photos.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting that was what was mentioned, especially since that's what it's advertised as.
And it's $70, 3.5 hours. The ironic thing is, though, that the reviews were very positive and they really enjoyed the bus
Yeah.
tour. So,
Okay.
so there you go.
Just
Wow.
the photographer that sucks.
Yes, or just was kind of like, meh, we all have our own cameras. Who cares?
Yeah. So next we have the exclusive Jeep adventure with beach picnic.
Mm.
So this one is $140. And how long is this one, Matt? 4 hours. And you drive the Jeep yourself. So if you're watching, you can see that there's all these Jeeps in a line. So I'm assuming there's like the person in the front that's like leading the way and everybody else follows along in these Jeeps.
So I'm just gonna say there's a lot of excursions out there that may be for you, but aren't for me. So keep that in mind, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of excursions that are all about driving machinery and stuff, and Jeeps and buggies and stuff. And personally, my taste is I don't care about any of that. But if you're a person that likes that, there are a lot of opportunities on all these ports pretty much that we're going to for that kind of thing. And this is one of them. Apparently they're not actually Jeeps, according to one person. They're Kias. I guess that matters to people, but it looks like a Jeep in the picture. So I don't know how accurate that is.
And then you get a picnic on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to go drive a Jeep, see some cool sights and have a picnic.
And have a sandwich.
Oh.
Ah.
You don't want to sand in your sandwich, though. That's not a good.
I don't actually know what the picnic is, but I thought it was
grind
funny.
your teeth down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's the next one?
Yeah, the problem I'd have is trying to find the steering wheel.
Yeah, and I think they do drive on the same side of the road as we do in the States. In fact, I know they do because I've
It's only
been
the Bahamians that drive on the correct side.
All right. So next is the Aruba UTV Adventure.
That'd be fun.
Let's see. And that one's $150 for 3 hours.
And again, I think this is a type of vehicle that people call side-by-side. I don't really know for sure, but they look like little buggy kind of drive it in the dirt kind of vehicles.
Big wheels.
Yeah.
It does say that you're going to get dirty. So
Yes.
be ready.
You're going to get dirty.
Oh,
Stop
down
it.
and dirty. Ooh.
Stop it.
But you're going to some of these sites, and if you're the kind of person that is into the adrenaline kind of off-road experience, this could be an excursion for you. It's got pretty good reviews. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then we have the Butterfly Farm in Arashi Beach Break, which is $60, and I don't know how much. 4 hours long.
So again, you're going to see several tours can take you to this Arashi Beach, and then they have other combos that go along with them, or they're just going to the beach. So this one includes this Butterfly Farm, which I know if you're curious about that, I'm pretty sure one of Para DJ's really old videos, like maybe the first time they went to Aruba, they went to the Butterfly Farm, if I recall. And that's the only video I've ever seen of the Butterfly Farm. But if you're into butterflies, it could be really pretty. And then you get the beach. And it's a pretty inexpensive tour for $60.
Mm-hmm. And then you spend an hour at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So next is the Sea Trek and De Palm Island Adventure. So De Palm Island is like I guess it's kind of like an all-inclusive island area that has like a water park and the Sea Trek thing and a bunch of other different things. So this particular excursion is the Sea Trek experience on De Palma Island. And then, of course, you can do those other things while you're spending time on De Palma Island. It is $160.
It's sold out, actually.
What's that?
I think it's sold out.
Oh, it is sold out. However, we are so far away from the cruise date that there are a few excursions that say sold out, and they may in fact be, but in my experience, when they say sold out and they're this far out, a lot of times they will open back up, whether that's because they just weren't ready to sell them or people drop out of them. Now it may continue to be sold out, but if you have your heart set on, like when we did the shark one in Bimini, it was sold out, but then it became available when we were on the cruise. And so sometimes those will open back up because we're pretty far away for these to be selling out.
Yeah.
But this would be a cool one if you want to get underwater and you're not a scuba diver and you're not a person that's going to dive down when snorkeling. This is the way to do that.
Yeah. Sea Trek is really cool because it's like a helmet that they put on you. Just over your head and stuff, but you can like breathe. It's basically a heavy-ish helmet that has a hose connected to it that you just walk on the bottom of the sand.
It's very controlled. So it's very safe. You're not going to be very deep. And the air that's in the helmet it doesn't have the pressure change that if you were just going underwater. So if you've ever gone underwater and your ears start to hurt, you don't know how to clear them, you don't have to worry about that because the air that's in there is staying the same term that I can't think of that relates to physics, but you won't have to clear your ears.
It's called pressure.
Yes, the pressure is going to stay consistent. Yes.
Correct. And by the way, I just noticed there's a birthday girl in the chat.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Who's our
Nancy's
birthday
just
girl?
popped in. Happy 21st, Nancy.
Oh, 21 years old, Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy. She's 21.
Happy birthday.
And we got Paul Vines in there too. Hello, Paul. And Kevin
Yep.
Counts. Hello, Kevin.
Ah.
People probably come in now because they're like, wait, don't you normally start now? We started this late if you're listening in the future or watching in the future. We started this early, rather.
Yeah.
Not late.
Kevin said that he left Tony and Dawn to come watch us.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, that's high marks.
That's big.
So congratulations, guys. You've hit it to the elitist group. They don't quit watching Tony and Don to come watch us. No, they come to watch you. So
that's because
privileged.
Tony and Don aren't on when you guys are on. That's the only reason. Otherwise, they would be.
I tell you what, though, just to let you know, this morning I tried to emulate you, Matt, but I found that this was far too grey, so I did have to remove it.
Oh, I talked to you yesterday, and there was a little bit of fuzz going on there.
Yeah,
We weren't sure if you could grow hair at all, but
I
Oh,
tried.
he can. He does.
he can. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Shh, stop telling my secrets.
All right.
Oh,
What's the next?
apologies, Nancy. She's 17. Sorry.
Sorry, Nancy.
17. Oh yeah, 17. Wait a minute, Nancy. I've seen you drink. I think you're at least 21. All right, what's the next one on the list there?
Next is the certified 2-tank dive.
So if you're a scuba diver, you can do this. And we actually are looking at this real hard, but we want to do stuff with the group. So we're not sure. It's $115 for a 2-tank dives on the Antilla shipwreck, which I've been free diving on. It's awesome for that. And then there's another
the
wreck,
Pedernales.
which is a shallower wreck. The one's 50 feet depth.
And the other one I think is 30.
30 or that's an amazing deal for probably some amazing dives. So if you are a diver, I would definitely consider that. And that price is really good.
That's a really good price.
Very
for a
good
dive.
price. That includes all of your gear as well. All right, what's next?
Next is the best of Aruba and Eagle Beach.
Okay.
Just a quick question before you do go on to that one. Say there's somebody out there who would like to learn to scuba, right? And they're using the cruise as an opportunity to taste test before they do the course.
There is a beginner scuba excursion in Aruba. It's $120. It's a 4-hour thing. You do some pool sessions, and then they take you on a single open water dive. If you are that person, Larry, then this would be a great place to do that, because Aruba is going to be they're going to take you on a shallow dive. It's going to that second wreck that we mentioned, I believe. Yeah. And you're going to get to do the pool session. It's pricier than the 2-tank dive because they're doing all the training and they're sending more people in the water with you because they have to, because you're not technically legally certified. Well, there's not literally a legal certification. You're not certified though, but yeah, Aruba would be a great place to try that out in a very safe place. Water's warm, the water's clear, the conditions are very controlled. Great place to try it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What is this one? The best of
Aruba and Eagle Beach.
So Eagle Beach is a different beach.
Yes, this one is $70 and 4.5 hours. You do all the land stuff, so you go to the different spots, and then of course you spend time at the beach. And
if you want to know what these land spots are, just click on any of these excursions, or just look up Aruba land tours. There's like a church. There's
the natural bridge, the baby natural bridge, the pool,
and these are like really cool like rock formations that have been carved out.
There's a lighthouse.
Water. Yeah, there's a lighthouse. Yeah, so there's some really beautiful shots. A good person to watch would be
I think Lovey's or someone
I don't
else.
know if Lovey's did that with Aruba. Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, did they?
Lovey's Fat Life has a pretty good video on that takes you to some of those places. But I'm thinking of Griffin Alyssa.
Oh,
go and watch Griffin Alyssa have some amazing videos on Aruba, and you can see some of these different land spots with their videos. All right, what we got next?
Next is De Palm Island Snorkel, Beach, Aqua Park, and Buffet. So that's the De Palm Island that I mentioned earlier from that other one, and this is just the Aqua Park and Buffet along with it for $125.
There you go. So some of these will give you a food option, an unlimited drink option. Some of them won't. So these are the, once you kind of figure out, I want to have a beach day, then you can kind of figure out, well, these are the beaches that people tend to go to on these excursions. Then you can look at the prices, and usually you can say this one's a little more because it offers this and this. If you don't care about those amenities, then go with the cheaper option or something along those lines.
I am actually going to click on this one specifically once I get back to it, because now it's taking me out of it, which is cool. Because this is one that we saw a picture that caught our attention. Do you remember that? Let's see if I can find it.
Oh yeah. Check this out.
Palm Island has human foosball.
I love it. That is cool.
I'm terrible at foosball, so you don't want me in your game there. Maybe I'd be better at human foosball. I don't know.
Maybe.
Oh, you never know.
All right. And then we have the Sea Bob Adventure and Arashi Beach Break. So the sea bob is like the little machine that pulls you under the
It's an
water.
underwater scooter,
Yeah, that.
basically,
That'd
that
be
you
fun.
hold on to. So this is what I would say about that. You're going to Arashi Beach. You're going to do the sea bob. Who is the sea bob for? The sea bob, and there's another underwater sled we see in it. I think maybe in Bonaire. This is not what you want to do if your goal is to go out and see marine life. You will see probably some marine life, but this is what you want to do if you want to relive James Bond Thunderball. If you are looking for the adrenaline experience of underwater on a powered sled, this is where you're going to find that. In fact, I don't think they even give you a snorkel on these.
Nope, they don't give you a
because
snorkel.
It probably wouldn't work very well. This is all about following a person and going on a path, and it's just about the joy of driving around on this little underwater scooter. So if that's for you, this is the kind of excursion that you want to do, and it got good reviews.
Yeah.
$110.
6 hours.
6 hours. So it's pretty long. You probably get a pretty okay time at the beach. Some of these too, watch out, because if you book
this one's 3.5 hours. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so watch out, because sometimes you see one with a beach and you think, oh, cool, we'll do these other things and go to the beach. Well, sometimes your beach time ends up being really, really, really short. So if your goal is to go to a beach, do your homework and make sure that you're getting an excursion that's going to spend enough time at the beach for you.
Yeah.
That was Lovey's complaint about the one that's coming up, the cuckoo something.
Yeah.
Bus ride, which is, he said, was
Right. Yeah, we
fun.
saw that one. Yeah. We watched that one.
Yeah. And his complaint was that they felt a little rushed. They spent too much time at some spots, and by the time they got to the beach, they just didn't have enough time there.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider as well.
All right. Next, we have the Aruba Highlights by UTV and Beach Break. So this one is $255 per UTV, which can hold up to 2 people.
You're renting the whole
You're renting
The
the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the excursion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know where that is on the list.
That's okay. We got to go through these kind of quick because we got so many to get through.
Yeah. And then we have the Best of Aruba Island Tour, which is $56, and it is what it says it is. You're doing the island tour.
So you're hitting some of those different land spots. And if there's a certain one you want to hit, just make sure that's on the list that tour is going to. But you'll see a lot of the same ones on different tours.
Yep. And then we have the all-inclusive Pirate Schooners Sail and Snorkel, which is $115. It's a 4-hour tour.
It's similar to that VIP one. I think it's like maybe more people or something. We weren't 100% clear on that.
You go to 2 snorkel spots, and then you get lunch.
Oh, Nurse Nancy says the sea bobs are very physical. You are underwater a lot, so keep that in mind. She said she saw a lot of coral on it, so you will see some coral. I mean, you're in Aruba, you're going to see some sea life, but if you want to like really see it, then you want to go slow. Take your time. Let the sea life be not afraid of you. Come out.
Yep.
And then what do we got next?
Yep. And then we have the Catamaran Sail and Snorkel, which is $65.
And this I have done sort of. This is a catamaran, takes you to 2 snorkeling sites, the Antilla shipwreck, and then a shallow reef. And then the one I did, which is on here later, they give you some barbecue or food or something like that and drive you back on the fun bus. This one, you stay on the catamaran. I will tell you that the snorkeling on the Antilla shipwreck is a little rough if you can't free dive, depending on the visibility that day, because it's in like 50 feet of water. But the other reef is really shallow. But the fun that you'll have on the catamaran, which I'm not really a party and drink rum punch on the catamaran guy, but I was on this because they got me going, and it was a blast. Absolutely wonderful experience. And catamaran, my mom was on this. So again, catamarans they're very stable, steady boats, and they usually have a lot of accessibility and stuff like that. So if you want to go on a boat and you are not super mobile, this could be a good option for you. Obviously snorkeling might be limited, but to get on the boat and stuff like that, depending on your situation.
I do have a bit of a challenge getting on another sailing device when I've just got off a ship.
It's kind of weird, right? Like I'm getting off a ship to get on a boat, but it
Get on
does feel different. I will say that. And for me, the goal is to get to like the wreck or the reef or something. But yeah, it is a little bit interesting that you're doing that. Yeah.
I think just on a personal note for us, being our first time, I know for many of you, this is a really common destination that you go to, the Caribbean. For us being a first time, I'm just talking personally from me, I would like to see more sites so that I can come home and when people say, well, what did you see?
You saw the sea.
I want to say I saw, places and history and things of interest.
Yeah,
but
no,
As much as I love,
absolutely.
I'm just talking personally.
And what
I
I
love the
recommend,
ocean.
I recommend people do even if you're able to go to these repeatedly, it's never a bad idea the first time you go to a port to do one of these like top 10 or tours, and it takes you to all these places, and then you get to see all that, you get a taste of all that stuff. But then also, if you are able to come back, then you go, oh, I know I really love this. I'm going to focus on
I'll go back there.
this or something.
That's
like
exactly
that.
what I did in Grand Cayman.
Yeah. So that is a great plan. And like a lot of these ports, you can get off the ship and not even do an excursion and just go around the port area. Depending on the port, you may or may not get an authentic experience, but you can usually have a lot of fun.
And what's nice about Aruba is it's a long day port.
Yeah.
So you're there early-ish and you're there until late. So
Which is
there's
great.
even possible opportunity to maybe do multiple of these depending on the timing of them.
Yeah.
And your bank balance.
Well, yeah. But it's my birthday cruise.
Are you in trouble, Matt? So that you're up to 65 excursions on that cruise, are you, Kimbra?
Yeah. All right. So next we have the Cuckoo Kanuku open air bus and beach break, which is $65. And how long is this one, Matt? I think it's 4 hours. And yeah, it's one of those things. It's the open air party bus where it goes to all the places and then you go to the beach. Lovey's Fat Life just recently did this. So go take a look at their video so you can get an idea of that.
Yep.
And then we have the downtown Aruba walking and tasting tour, which is $40. It is exactly what it sounds like. You're walking downtown Aruba and tasting some tastes.
But you are getting a guided tour with some of that history and culture.
Yes.
So this is a good one. That's a little more chill. It's a little more relaxed, and it did say that there's a bit of walking in it though. But it could give you a good experience of Aruba. Not like the big geographical sites or the maybe the historical sites as much, other than but the actual like current cultural sort of vibe of the island.
Yeah, and that one is 2.5 hours.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Best of Aruba and Eagle Beach, which is $70. It is what it says it is. It's another one of those things where you do go to all the places and then go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the C&C Island Tour Semi-Sub and Shipwreck, $75. And
not an actual submarine.
No, it's a semi-sub, so it goes like half under.
It's a boat. It's like a more than a glass bottom boat because the bottom drops down and you have a lot of viewing, but it's not an actual submarine that goes underwater. They do have one of those, but this is not that one. So, but if you want to see the coral reef and you don't want to get your face wet, this is a way to do that.
Yeah. And then there's the 4x4 North Coast Safari and Arashi Beach Break, which is $110. And it's very similar to the other 4x4 one, but it goes to different places. It's $110, and I'm sure it's a certain amount of time.
Don't worry too
4.5
much about
hours.
Yeah, don't worry too much about that.
And then there's the Mamwa Cove Snorkel Cruise with drinks.
After you snorkel.
Yeah, they don't give
I
you
was
drinks
just
until
going to
after.
ask
Never
because
drink and snorkel.
Yeah. Or dive. Yeah. Most
Because-
places and most excursions I've been on that are snorkeling and they include drinks, they will give you maybe juice and water beforehand, but the alcohol doesn't come out till after you, which is just common sense safety.
Yeah.
there's that beginner.
There's the beginners. Yeah. There's
Yep.
a beginner
There's the
scuba.
beginner dive, which, yeah, if you're interested in diving, I think doing a beginner scuba is worth it.
That would be a cool way to do it.
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't do that. I just jumped in, but I like underwater things, so I knew I'd be okay.
Yeah, but it is a good way to.
That's not true. I also did a dive class in college and just never got certified. So I've technically anyway.
You're certifiable though.
Okay.
So right, Matt, we'll be there in October to check her out for you.
All right, and then we have the North Coast Jeep Safari, $100, and yeah, it's again one of those Jeep Safari vehicle things that goes to all the different sites.
It's a safari Jeep that you're riding against. You're not.
Yes.
This isn't the Jeep you're
Not
driving.
Correct.
I think that's the distinction there. But this would be a good way to see. And this is North Coast, so it's probably going to hit different spots maybe than some of the other ones.
Yep. And then we have the Sail Away Snorkel in Palm Beach with barbecue lunch, which is what you
That's
had
the one I
did.
did. It was amazing.
Yep, it's $105. And then we have the submarine.
Actual submarine.
Yes.
It goes to 130 feet or
Yeah.
150 feet.
130. I thought it was 180.
I think it's 130.
130.
So
Oh,
it actually
it
gets
goes
covered by
deep.
water.
What's that?
It actually gets covered by water.
It does. It's a legit submarine. Yeah. It's cramped is what we saw, but yeah, there's a picture of it. And 130 feet is really a bit beyond your normal recreational scuba diving by about 30 feet or so for most scuba divers that usually aren't going to go under 100 without getting a little bit more training for that. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And then there's the Sunset Cocktail Cruise. And because, you're in Aruba late, that would be one that you could do. So it's a boat ride at sunset with some drinks.
So
That'd be nice, yeah. Walk around in the morning and then do that one in the evening.
Again, you can go onto the ship, go up to the Iguana Bar and have a nice tequila.
Have a cocktail anyway.
absolutely.
Let's get it right. I mean,
and
one you're
that's the
paying
cool
for.
thing about being in port this long is the food prices in Aruba and Bonaire are pricey, so you can, being in port so long, it's easy to take a couple hours, go back to the ship, eat a nice relaxing lunch. You've already paid for it with your cruise, and then you can get back off and have more fun and save yourself some money. Or if you want to splurge and try some local cuisine, you can do that as well.
All right. So our time is very limited. How do you want to do Bonaire?
So let's just wrap up Aruba real quick here and say that your main options in a nutshell are taking some sort of a land excursion, whether you're driving or they're driving, hitting some of these points, historical spots, geographical interest areas. There's also things you can do on a boat to go to a beach. There's some snorkeling and diving options. And there's a few things like that you're going downtown and experiencing some stuff. That kind of wraps up, I think, everything on the whole. There may be a couple outliers there, but that is Aruba. Like, you can see Aruba by going and seeing the amazing habitat and history of Aruba, and you can see the amazing underwater of Aruba, and then the center where you get off the ship, where you can get a hat like this for a really good price. And then there's some shopping and stuff. It's a little more touristy there at that point, but that's Aruba. It really is an amazing place.
It's one happy island.
It's one happy island. Yes.
Which is what my shirt says.
Wow.
Bonaire doesn't have as much stuff, because I do want to keep us in our time frame, which is challenging. So let's kind of zip through Bonaire and just kind of give an overview of some of these things, because some of it's going to be similar. The cool thing about Bonaire, and again, check out Lovey's Fat Life, because they just did a really cool 2-part video of doing this and another one, a short video on how to get to the place to do this. And that is to rent a golf cart and just do your own self-guided tour, which is really awesome. Bonaire is a smaller island. There's not a lot of traffic there, so it's a very safe place to do that. And you can go where you want. They give you a map, and you can spend as much time as you want at the different locations. And so that's an option.
Yeah, and a lot of the stops that some of these excursions go to are places that you can just drive to yourself on these golf carts.
Yeah. There's also, I know because we're going to have the group, if you have a group of 8, you can rent a whole van for 5 hours with a driver. I think it's with a driver.
Yep,
right?
it's with a driver.
It's $500, but if you divide that by 8,
reasonable.
now it's fairly reasonable. That's 5 hours. That's pretty much your whole day for when we're in Bonaire, and you don't have to worry about getting lost. You don't have, they can make recommendations.
You go where you want to go. They'll
You have
take
a
you there.
lockable vehicle that you don't have to worry about your stuff if you're going to wander away. So that's an option for you. What else we got?
The Lock Bay National Park is one that's mentioned a lot in some of these excursions. So that's where you're going to see your flamingos and your donkeys and your other kind of wildlife in a natural kind of place.
Bonaire is the only one of the 3 ABC islands where you are likely to see wild flamingos in their natural habitat. They are in Aruba a little bit, but not very common. And same with, I don't know if they're in Curacao very much at all, but in Bonaire, they are there. So again, Bonaire has a lot of really cool kind of arid environments that you can see a lot of cool stuff that you can go to. And flamingos are one of the highlights for a lot of people.
Yep. Yeah. There's you can do Harley Davidson. You can do glass bottom kayaks. They have a glass bottom boat.
So Bonaire is one of the scuba diving capitals of the world. So Bonaire and Klein Bonaire, which we just found out last week means Little Bonaire.
I knew that.
She already knew that. But basically, like, this is a place when I was a kid and I got Scuba Diver or Skin Diver magazine, like Bonaire was featured on the cover like every other month. So as a kid growing up, I was like, what's this? Bonaire seemed like this amazing place. And it is known for its coral reef. So there's some cultural and historical things on Bonaire, but there's less of that on Bonaire than there is on, say, Aruba and Dominican Republic, even to some extent. So Bonaire is really known for its wildlife, and most of that is underwater. So a lot of these excursions are based on snorkeling, beautiful beaches. There's no scuba diving excursions you can do in Bonaire through the cruise line. I had to call my buddy or text my buddy, and he gave me a link to one that we can do. And it's just because probably it's so easy to just go and do scuba diving there that they don't need to give the cruise line a cut. I think this is kind of what he's decided, and I think he's probably right. But there's a lot of beaches, and you have some of those similar options where you can do things like ATVs and drive on your own for that kind of more action-packed thing, or you can take a more leisurely trip where somebody else is driving, or you can drive on your own.
Yeah. I also want to mention that there's an excursion called the Beach Express Ferry, which is $40, which takes you over to Klein Bonaire. There's also just a regular ferry that you can get off the ship and take over there that goes back and forth throughout the day. With the excursion, you are limited on the time that you're at Klein Bonaire, so you have to make sure to watch for that. With the ferries that just go regularly, there is, of course, a last one that goes. So if you're on the wrong one, you miss the ship. That sucks.
Last one before the ship. That can, yeah, you got to check those times because that can really limit you as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not in Bonaire for a super long amount of time.
Yeah, I thought it was a short stint.
Yeah. So if you want to do Klein Bonaire, you really have to plan that out carefully to make sure you get some time over there. But taking the ferry might be the better way. But definitely something to look at the times for that ferry and see if that's the best option, or doing an excursion like this, just maybe for peace of mind, even.
Yeah.
It might make more sense.
Yeah. Was there anything else on Bonaire that you wanted to mention?
I think that's pretty much. I think that's the gist of it. So Bonaire, in a nutshell, a little bit of more wildlife exploring or underwater stuff. That is pretty much Bonaire. But everybody that goes to Bonaire will tell you that even if you're just driving around looking at the water and the land, they got like the pink salt and stuff that they have there and stuff, and the water is just like this beautiful shade of blue. And you'll hear people talk about, it's one of those places like the Grand Canyon or something where people were like, the video just doesn't do it justice. The pictures just don't do it justice. So just the whole feel of this island, I think is just amazing and gorgeous. So
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Very
It's good.
exciting. And that's a great rundown and overview,
And then,
isn't it?
and I've been looking in the chat there, and some people have been offering some good pointers backwards and forwards. Nancy, particularly about the underwater activities with the sea bobs and all that sort of stuff.
She also mentioned a pirate ship.
yeah, so there is a pirate ship excursion that the one that they advertise that, but the ship that they showed in the pictures is not the one I've seen. Like Griffin and Alyssa did a video when they did that pirate ship, and the one that I've seen people on looks like, I mean, it's not an actual pirate ship, but it's made to look like a pirate ship on a smaller scale. I'm sure it has motors, but you can like swing off the ship into the water and stuff, and it looks pretty cool, and people that have gone on it seem to have really enjoyed that. So but the one that said pirate ship looks just like a schooner or something, or almost like a tall ship or something like that. So I don't know if that's changed or if the photographs aren't accurate or what, but I know a lot of people have liked that. And also, yeah, if you are listening to this in the future or even watching it, you're right. We have had a lot of really great feedback, a lot of experience that are in the chat right now, commenting on some of these excursions that they have done. And so you could get some good insight from some of those.
Yes.
But no matter what we do, and you know, you can do your own thing, you can do stuff with other people, but no matter what we do on this group cruise, we're going to have an amazing time on and off the ship. So that's why you guys need to book this cruise and come with the Down Under Cruisers, Spikers, them and us and more. I always get that wrong. Us and more, and have some fun, meet some
and
cool
Fintastic
people.
Cruising, because we're going to be there.
It's also the inaugural. Yes, we'll be there, but it's not our group cruise, but it's also the inaugural Helping Hands for Cruising cruise, where we will have the amazing Kenny on board, who is our first recipient, and so it's a great way to be a part of that as well, and hopefully the first of many Helping Hands for Cruising cruises.
We are currently actively looking for somebody to be a recipient of the Fantastic Studios group cruise.
Yes.
We've got a couple of people going on that, but we are looking for someone to be the second Kenny, so to speak, that will go on your group cruise and partake and have as much fun as we are hoping to have on ours.
And if you're not familiar with Helping Hands for Cruising, it's an organization that really you guys pioneered, but we've become a part of it. There are a lot of other really wonderful people that have done a lot of work on this, and it's a completely nonprofit group, and we are trying to raise money to send people on cruises that would not be able to cruise otherwise, and so it's really a cool way to give people a chance to experience this wonderful, amazing thing that we all love so much, cruising.
Well said.
Thank you.
All right, so okay, well, let's see, how much time do we have here? A few minutes.
We've got 5 minutes. There is a question here. I don't know if you want to answer this now or if you want to talk to him later about that.
Oh, Larry, we'll talk to Larry later about that.
Okay.
Yes, it's a scuba diving question. So yes, we'll get back to Larry.
I'm just going to, sorry, can I just ask a quick question about the golf carts? How many do they seat?
So I'm pretty sure they will seat 6.
Oh, okay.
based on my experience
At
with
least
golf
4,
carts,
and then they have 2 backward seats.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
right?
so that's pretty standard golf carts. And from what I saw in Lovey's video, that looked like the situation. I don't know if there are different golf cart options that have more or less. I've never seen a golf cart that held more than that, but unless
I
it's
don't
like
think so.
unless it's like pulling one. But
Well, I mean, like you can get like when Lindsay had her wedding, they had like limo golf carts where they
Oh.
were like the extra seats.
Stretch
But I don't
it
think
out.
that's what you can rent
They
there.
call those buses, I believe.
No, so if you wanted to rent one, we could go with a small group, so we didn't have to drive ourselves because we can't.
and you could rent multiple carts and just go as a little,
As a group.
Yeah, I'll go
Little
together.
convoy.
That'd be nice.
Which could be
Convoy.
a convoy. It could be a lot of fun. I really think one of the things that we want to do, because we've been doing this research on Bonaire, and it sounds like if you're like us and you're like into scuba diving and snorkeling, you could literally just rent some tanks if you bring your own gear or rent gear, and just drive around and just go and do scuba diving right off the shore. It's a great place for shore dives, which I love shore dives because you don't have to waste time on a boat. And so it's like, we just want to go there for a whole week now and just drive around and scuba dive all week long. Really excited about Bonaire. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So just as clarification, to book the Fintastic Studios group cruise, contact Kimbra. To book the Down Under Cruises, Us and More, Spiker, Crazy, not Strange Adventures that you said in the beginning, Crazy Adventures, please talk to Cindy Spiker. She's the
And
TM.
I don't know if we have anybody in the chat right now that can throw that link up there, but we'll probably have somebody on your live stream that can. And then and you can always go to the Down Under Cruisers on Facebook or go to one of their videos. And you guys have that link in the videos for booking the group cruise?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So you can find it. And if that doesn't work, email us at fintasticcruising
And we'll get you where you need to go.
And we will give you the link. If you want to go on this group cruise, just reach out. We will give you whatever you need to know to get in contact with Cindy and get that booked. And we hope you do, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
More the merrier.
Yep.
All right. So we do have a cruise creature, but I know we're running out of time. I'm just going to throw it up there real quick because
You don't want to do the thing?
No, don't even worry about the thing, because
The
really
music it's 8 seconds, Matt.
okay. And now we've taken 16 to explain. It's going to be way better now. All right, so I gave Mike Lovelace a little trouble about this because Mike a really cool couple of videos. That's Lovey's Fat Life. And they really highlighted the flamingos and
The donkeys.
And one of these lizards, these are called whiptail lizards, and there's a different species on each of the ABC islands. And this is the one that is on Bonaire. And he had one in the video. It was there, and he didn't mention it. He said he did when he was filming, but it was so windy he had to just go do a voiceover for the whole thing. And I'm going to give Michelle a little trouble now because she said, no, don't talk about the lizard. It's just my favorite lizard. Okay.
I'm going to tell Churro and Luna you said that.
No, but look, these are really, I mean, look at this thing.
It's gorgeous.
Come on. That is
color.
a crazy cool lizard, right? So these
Dinosaur. What's wrong with you?
Beautiful.
What's that?
It's a dinosaur. What's wrong with you?
Well, there are a lot of these on Aruba, and the reason, and the other species on Curacao and Bonaire, but there are a lot of these in like Bonaire, for example, because most lizards these are a small to medium sized lizards, so they're about their snout to vent, we say, with not counting their tails, probably 8 to 12 inches on most of these guys. So that's not a huge lizard like an iguana. Most smaller lizards are carnivores. They eat insects and arthropods and of other sorts. These are mostly plant eaters. They do eat the occasional insect, But because they have adapted to eating plants, and this is very much an island lizard thing, they are able to sustain a much larger population. And so you have a much more robust population of these really beautiful lizards. And the other cool thing about them is some of them are parthenogenic, which is one of my favorite science words. And what it means is that the females can produce offspring without a mate. It's basically a clone of the female, but they can lay eggs in this case and produce offspring without reproduction with another animal. And so you can get a lot of lizards that way.
Do seahorses do that too?
There might be seahorses that do that. There are a lot of other animal species that have been found to be parthenogenic. Several lizard species that I know of. There have been some snakes that have had parthenogenesis has been recorded in. I don't know about seahorses, but I would not be at all surprised if there were. A lot of insects are like that. A good example of that is bees. Bees they can reproduce sexually, or this would be asexually, but they're a prime example of an animal that does that normally. But if you come to Florida and you're looking out at night and there's geckos, not the little anoles that are all over during the day, but the geckos on the wall, some of those, which are house geckos, are introduced species. Some of those are parthenogenic. And so they just produce clones of themselves. There's also a little tiny snake that's in Bonaire and Aruba too, but it's in Florida that's been introduced called the Brahminy blind snake, parthenogenic. It's like a thread-sized snake, but yeah, kind of a cool little biology thing there.
Fascinating.
I can't find a mate, so I'll produce another me.
Well, it's probably the means of keeping the species alive in times when they couldn't find.
Exactly. The only downside is they don't have, if they don't reproduce with a mate, then they're not getting any genetic diversity when they reproduce. So that can be devastating. Like coral can reproduce by cloning or through sexual reproduction. And if they're reproducing through cloning and say a disease comes along, then their chances of having a mutated gene that allows them to adapt to that disease is not going to happen. And so it's really hard for them to get through a disease. So you need that sexual reproduction with genetic diversity a lot of times to get through different environmental challenges and stresses. But it can also maintain your population in the meantime in certain situations. So there you go. It's Earth Day. So we should talk a little bit about that, right?
That's nature. Incredible.
Yeah.
We live in an incredible world.
Yes, we do. And you guys have the freakiest island of all. So
yeah,
I know.
In more ways than one.
All the weird stuff over there, which
Very
is
weird.
wonderful.
I'm sitting next to one. Weird stuff.
I'm sorry. I tried to control myself.
Well, listen, guys, we will go ahead and wrap up our podcast on time, almost. And that's going to give Down Under Cruisers time to go and get their live set up for 10 o'clock tonight Eastern time. And then we're going to come on over there and we're going to talk about the rest of the islands, which is Dominican Republic, 2 port stops over there. But thank you guys for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you for having us.
So much.
I'm sorry, I just opened my mouth and talked for the whole time.
No, we need it.
The thing is this, we're used to the Matt vomit because it's got a lot of good info in there.
Oh, well, thank you.
No, it's been very informative.
You know, whenever we put someone in recovery position, we want to make sure that the airways are open and we want to clear the airways. Yours are the only airways we don't want to force people to open up because there's just so much info in there.
It's just too much.
Close yours.
I love you too.
Thanks again.
All right. Well, listen, guys, thank you. We're going to go ahead and roll the credits. We'll stick around in the chat for a few minutes, but we will be dropping off pretty soon so that we can go over to the Down Under Cruisers YouTube channel. So definitely follow us over there. At 10 o'clock, we will be on with them.
Thank you. See you then.
See you then.
Bye all.
See you guys.
All right. Well, on that note, it's time
I forgot
to
about
head
that.
for the horizon. And until next time, seize the day.
Did we mention the group cruises on the horizon? We didn't even talk about
we didn't even
that.
talk about that.
8-night cruise on the Carnival Horizon. So have a fantastic week, everybody. All right, we're back for a little bit. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We always love talking to the Down Under Cruisers, and it's just I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It's one of the great things about being in this cruising community is that you get to meet people like the Down Under Cruisers and a lot of people that we have in the chat right now. And you start out as somebody you just kind of know because of common interests, but you end up making new friends and like really good friends. So, I mean, even though they're almost as far away from us as you could possibly be, which hopefully is not by design, I feel a real bond with them. So it's a really cool thing. And so many people, that I'm looking at here in the chat right now too, that are, have just become great friends. And what a cool thing. The internet can be a power of good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything we want to wrap up with? I'm going to leave Kenny's. Thank you, Kenny, by the way, for posting that there.
So this is what I've got. I've got two things.
Okay.
One is that, if you want to talk about that.
If you want, we can.
Two is Larry's question, but do you want to pause or do you want to do that now?
Let's answer Larry's question and then pause.
Okay.
So Larry, what was Larry's question exactly?
Larry's question is he is going to, so the cruise leaves on October 15th. He said he's getting into Florida on October 12th and wants to know if there's a good place in Florida to get scuba certified for cheap. Well, so the first thing is depends on what you call cheap. And you want to make sure you get a good quality certification because you can go through like a quick certification in like a day or two. But that doesn't mean it's a good certification. Yeah.
So you can find quality scuba instruction in Florida cheaper than just about anywhere, I think, because there's a lot more competition. So the price is driven down. And I know from talking to people that live in other parts of the country about this, that the prices for getting an open water scuba certification is like crazy compared to what it is in Florida in some places, because there's like one dive shop within like 3 cities or something. But here's the problem. Exactly what Kimbra said, that the time is going to be your enemy, Larry, because really normally scuba certification is going to take about 2 weeks, and that's going to include pool sessions and then finally an open water dives.
Well, and then there's your classroom stuff.
The classroom stuff though, nowadays you could do virtually.
You can.
So that you could take care of.
So my certification actually took 3 weeks. However, it was only 3 days because I did my pool session and then I did 2 water sessions.
Larry is saying that in Powell River, Canada, it's between $300 and $500. Honestly,
that's pretty normal.
$300 is probably a pretty average price for Florida, closer to the $300 mark. If that includes your dives, that's a good price.
That's true.
If that includes, what it will not include, and well, I don't know what that one includes, but in Florida, for I'd say $300 to $400, you can get open water certification. You might find it cheaper, and maybe it'll be a good place, but on average, I think $300 to $400 is probably reasonable expectation, and that's going to usually include the price of your open water dives for certification. It's not going to include buying any gear, which you don't have to buy all of your gear. In fact, unless you're going to dive a lot, I would discourage you from buying all of your gear. What you do have to buy is mask, fins,
And snorkel.
and snorkel. Although I don't even know if you really have to have a snorkel these days, but snorkels are
You
cheap.
have to have one to do the certification.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
So snorkels are cheap though. Like you could get a snorkel for like $10.
The other
$5
option is, I don't know how easy it is.
That
You'd
is
have
all-inclusive.
you'd have to talk to some different people and figure it out. But the other option is to maybe see if you can do like your classroom stuff and your pool sessions there in Canada, and then see if there's a place that you could come down here and do your open water pieces.
Yes.
That would take more organizing and possibly cost more.
Honestly, Larry, if you're seriously wanting to do that, I would really encourage you, if you can, just get the certification done in Canada, and then you're ready. And then when you come down and you go on this cruise, you can dive with us, and it'll be your first open water dive without your dive instructor, and it'll be a good place to do that, because I guarantee you it's going to be easier to dive in the Caribbean than it is in Canada. It's going to be warmer, so you're not going to have a wetsuit unless you want to wear one, and it's going to be fairly shallow dive. I don't know where you dive in that part of Canada. I don't know what the options are, but it's
clear water.
It might be, I don't know if it's fresh water or salt water, but it's probably going to be cold. That's what I'm thinking. So that's what I would recommend. Oh, he said this is a 2-day course, school online. Yeah, I don't know. I would, if it's a dive shop or something, I would go to the dive shop and talk to them. If you don't have a dive shop, which you may not where you're at, yeah, it's just tricky. Like if you could come down, like, I know this is not maybe realistic, but if you could come down and have like a week down here, then you could probably knock that out.
Yeah, or even a couple extra days, because that's the thing, is like I said, I did it
very cold.
3 days in the water, and then I did all of my class work online. Yep. So however long that took me, you could do that classwork ahead of time, but to do your pool session and then your like actual water dives, ideally would take at least 2 days, maybe 3.
Yeah. So that's why I say, like there's a Royal Caribbean, some of the Royal Caribbean ships offer a scuba certification on board, but if you do that, you're spending a lot of your cruise doing that, and then your first dive, you're going to be a little nervous. You got to do your tests and all that stuff. So my recommendation is get that stuff done, and then when you go on the cruise, enjoy your dives. If you can do that, that's what I would recommend. That would be the ideal way to do it.
Yeah, he said he's already booked his flights. He's taken an intro to scuba, the ones at Resorts. Okay. So yeah. I would say if you want that dive certification, get it done in Canada and then come down and dive with us.
Yep. That's what I would recommend. Yeah, because trying to coordinate that and work, that'd be like instructors working with instructors. That may not be a thing that works very well based on the instructors that I know. So they're like engineers, they're like,
they want it done this way,
and they also, and this is probably a good thing, but like a good instructor is often going to be like, I don't know what you did in the pool. I want to train you my way and make sure you're doing everything right by me before I take you out in the open water. So, but yeah. And if you've already tried scuba and you know that you like it, then just get your certification. The thing is, scuba certification is good for life. Like you don't have to get recertified. If you don't dive for a couple years, you might take a little refresher. But as far as like the licensing goes, that's it. You're one and done. So you can get further certifications, but you don't have to, for the most part, really, unless you're doing something more extreme.
And if you do something further, really advanced would be the only thing that you really, and that's if you want to do like deeper dives.
I've never I have had my advanced and night diver certification since I was like 18, but I've never once been asked to present that card. And I've been
that's not entirely true. At Rainbow Reef, there were certain dives that we could not do because I only had open water.
Oh, they wouldn't have let us?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Because I've done dives in the Gulf at like 80 plus feet, and I did that with my cousin who was just open water.
Rainbow
So
Reef
They may
was
be a little
is
more particular.
It's more particular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are dive shops that are going to limit you a little bit, but that's the exception, not the rule. And most good
I mean,
coral diving
personally,
is gonna be
I'm
30
fine.
feet,
I'm
40
fine being
feet,
at 30 feet.
30, 40 feet. Yeah. I mean, but there's going to be spots like, like if we dive on the wall, which we will dive on a wall, we're probably going to hit 80 feet. But the other thing is we'll be with a dive master, which may be why I don't know. Well, the one I did in the bay was 80 feet and we were on our own. So yeah, I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and do our pause. Is that a long enough pause?
Yes, so since you started talking.
All right, we gotta go. So if you wanna talk about that or not,
Do you want to? You want to wait?
So our 3 years is coming up in what, a couple weeks? So about 2 weeks away. So we got ourselves a little anniversary gift, which is another 3D printer, and it's bigger. I mean, if you're not a 3D printer nerd, you're going to be like, whatever, guys.
Todd's not on here.
I know. So we'll talk about it another time. When we get it set up, it's still sitting in a box over there. So
yeah, I guess that's it. I'm excited about it.
Open water is not limited to 30 feet. Open water is limited
to 60.
Here's the thing, though. There's no legal, it's not like a driver's license. Scuba licenses are not legally binding things. There are organizations, some national, some international, that provide training that give you this card. And dive shops and dive renters or whatever, they are, because of insurance and just because of being safe, they're going to require that you have these certifications. You could go out and buy scuba gear and scuba dive without ever going through scuba training, and you would not be breaking the law. It would be stupid to do that. It would be extraordinarily dangerous because although scuba diving is generally not very dangerous, there are things that you have to know. And they're very easy rules to follow, but if you don't follow those, you could hurt yourself real quick. So you shouldn't do that, of course. And you might not even be able to, you could probably buy stuff online. I don't think they would ask you anyway, but don't do that. But so it's like on an open water certification, my cousin dove with me in Gulf of Mexico, and we were at like 85 feet. Not a problem. They wanted to know how recently we had been diving and blah, blah, blah. He was a brand new diver. He was with me. I hadn't dove in like a year and a half or so. They were okay with it. This is a very reputable company. It was all good. So, but the training manuals nowadays, when I did open water, it said it was like 100 feet, I think was what we were supposed to limit to. I don't remember. I was 15, and then advanced was supposed to give you more experience with that and other specialties. But when you did open water now, I think it's like, is it like 60 feet?
I think it's 60. I can look it up.
60 feet, something like that. Reno is sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah, he's out. He's being sleepy dog.
He's out. Yes, Larry, we have 3D printers and we make cool stuff.
Yeah, 60 feet for open water.
Here's one that I can reach. Like we print things like this. I know it's blurry, but and lots of other geeky stuff. We have like a pirate here. Let me grab the pirate. It's cooler. Hopefully I didn't just show everybody my butt, but and that's blurry too.
Oh, advanced is to 100.
Advanced is to 100. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're into that. It's just one more geeky thing that we do that we don't have time for, but we do anyway. My first time I panicked. I had a bad gag reflex. Mouthpiece made me gag and caused me to panic. I know how to deal with it now. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of it. And if you have to throw up, you just blow chunks through your regulator, which has got to be surreal. I've never done that, but I know people who have. So, okay, we better get out of here so we can go get on with the Down Under Cruisers again.
All right. Cool.
All right, bye everybody. Hopefully we'll see you guys in just a few minutes over with the Down Under Cruises.
Right. Bye.
Bye everybody.